Yo, Haitian, go crazy with it. Go crazy with it. Woods.
Hola los peoples, my name is Rafisa. You're listening to Choublak4 and I hope you're having an amazing day. If you like that beat, that's Haitian's work. Look him up on Instagram. His handle is at one Haitian. That would be one, the number one, Hayshun. Today's episode is titled Smell an Apple Away. Let me show you why. I think the weirdest question I asked last year was, do you know how long it would take to smell an apple away? If I had been outside saying this while talking on the phone, some people might have stepped away from me. Because taken out of context, it sounds weird. It doesn't seem to make much sense either. Anyway, I think we're all aware that a single sentence cannot give us all the information necessary to understand a conversation we are not part of. One of my best friends always says, when something happens between two people, there's the first person's story, the second person's story, and then there's what actually happened. Human memory can be extremely helpful, but it can also be extremely distorted. Firstly, things that happen after a given experience can change the way you remember that experience. If you're mad at somebody now, chances are when you think of them, you feel like you have more bad memories with them than good ones. Or the good ones suddenly inspire a bunch of negative questions. Secondly, when you remember something, you remember the last time you remembered it. So, resentfulness could continuously degrade a sad and confusing memory until it becomes a horrible memory. The same thing might happen the other way around, meaning that if you love somebody now, it's possible that when you remember something they did that bothered you at the time, you view it as something positive. Let's get back to the scenario where the two people are angry at each other. If one of them is your friend who comes to you to tell you their part of the story, you should start to help them by hearing all they have to say. Partly because sometimes all we need is for someone to listen, but also because telling your story out loud can help you come up with solutions to your problems. But whatever they could possibly tell you is never the full story. Sometimes that friend will choose not to mention something, they will choose not to mention their own mistakes, or they will mention them but choose words that diminish their gravity. Sometimes they won't tell you about the other person's mistakes because they are scared to be judged through that person's actions. Or they could be in an abusive relationship and pressured by that second person to not tell their own story. Not to mention what we've established about human memory being unreliable to a certain extent. Your role as a listener is more than just listening, it's also thinking about the type of answer you're going to offer your friend. If you're too passive towards their struggle or success, they might never come to you again. And if you're the only one they trust, you're basically letting them be alone. I'm not saying you should put them first if you're mentally tired, but if that's the case, tell them. Tell them you're currently mentally tired and whether you feel capable of listening or not. Don't leave them hanging with a, huh, yeah, that sucks, or yay. Furthermore, you should create boundaries for yourself concerning the extent to which you will try to put yourself in your friend's shoes. I can think of three reasons for that. Number one, their memories are not objective. You can't tell somebody how they should feel, but you actually don't know the impact their emotions have on their memories. Number two, There is always a chance that you're given a piece of information that has been taken out of context. These two first reasons are more directed towards people who will go all the way to hating someone or treating them like trash because of what their friends told them about that person. Number three, chances are you already have your own emotional burdens, and even if you have none, you should not try to carry all of somebody else's. The best thing you can do for them is to help them navigate through it. Because if something happens to you while you were carrying somebody else's burden, then life will have taken away the only way they knew how to deal with their problems. That's not good, is it? Now, here's what happened concerning the apple. My little sister was watching a video on YouTube and someone mentioned that every time you smell something, it's because small particles of it go into your nose. That person had taken the example of an apple. And the first thing I replied was, "Do you know how long it would take to smell an apple away?" Thank you for listening to today's episode. There is a new episode every Friday. Speaking of which, I apologize for not posting anything last week. I had planned on sharing something that was a little too personal. Last Friday, I decided not to post it and couldn't quickly come up with something I may call high quality. Anyway, you can follow Choublak4 on Instagram or Twitter. That will be Choublak4, the number 4. You can also subscribe to whichever platform you're listening this from. I am an artist and you'll find my work on Instagram. My handle is at Rafisarelo. That will be RAFISARELO. Have a blessed day. Ciao, ciao. Bye bye.